This video is not for reality, but for imagination. If you are watching now in the quiet of the night, put your phone aside, close your eyes for a bit,
and let the words paint the images inside your mind. Do not think too much about whether this is real or not, for in this video, imagination is what leads the story. Welcome, my friend. Welcome to This Explainer. We're going on a little journey tonight.
Okay, open your eyes now, and I want you to picture this historical scene with me. Sometime between the 7th and 10th centuries, a strange, semi-wild, massive gray beast steps out into the damp, heavy mists of southern Italy. It traveled thousands of miles, all the way from Asia. We're talking about the water buffalo. Now, fast forward to the year 1161 AD, tucked away in the quiet monastery of San Lorenzo in Capua. The monks living there took the incredibly rich milk from this strange foreign creature and, well, they created something completely brand new. And they named it simply after a physical motion, a gesture of the hand, mozzarella, which in Italian simply means to cut. Over 800 years later, we are literally still eating the exact same cheese, born from the quiet work of those monks, and named after that precise, deliberate pinch of the hand.
But you know, the strangest part is yet to come. Because to actually turn that raw milk into this legendary cheese, it requires an ancient, almost magical kind of science. It's a process the Italians call Pasta Filata.
Pasta Filata, or spun paste, is a transformation that honestly feels way more like alchemy than cooking. It kicks off by curdling that rich milk with enzymes, cutting it, draining it, and then waiting for a highly specific acidification, hitting exactly 5.0 to 5.4 pH. But the absolute magic happens right in the hot water stretch. They take this crumbly curd and drop it straight into scalding 90 degrees Celsius water. Then the cheesemaker reaches right in and begins to work the mass. I'm telling you, it is exactly like watching a master glassblower shape warm, molten glass. They're pulling it, they're folding it, stretching it out until the paste becomes impossibly glossy and elastic. Finally, they use that ancient Mozzarella pinching motion to snap off a perfect gleaming ball, and they drop it right into a cold bath to set.
So what's actually happening on a microscopic level during that intense hot stretch? Well, normal cheese proteins are totally chaotic. They just sit there like a massive, random tangle of unspooled yarn, all clumped and confused. But when that scalding water hits the curd in Pasta Filata, those chaotic casein micelles are literally forced to align. They completely transform, becoming these carefully combed, perfectly straight sliding threads. And it's this exact parallel structure that gives us that famous mozzarella stretch, that signature little squeak against your teeth, and its flawless porcelain-smooth texture.
What no one knows is the mozzarella you eat every single week, the one you're probably picturing in your mind right now, is almost certainly not the authentic original.
You see, we are living in two completely different worlds of mozzarella. On one side, we have the true, ancient, original mozzarella di Bufala campana. This is made strictly from the water buffalo we pictured earlier. It is incredibly rich, slightly tangy, and has this striking porcelain white color. But on the other side, we have Fior di Latte. This is the democratic, everyday cow's milk version. Fior di Latte is milder, it's slightly yellower, and it holds a lot more moisture. And look, it's a wonderful cheese in its own right, and is absolutely the cheese that built the global pizza culture we know today. But make no mistake, they are two vastly different experiences that just happen to share the exact same name.
The secret to this dramatic difference really comes down to the pure composition of that buffalo milk. Think about this. It packs a massive 8% fat content. That is literally double the fat of standard cow's milk. And this extreme fat content creates a luxurious, super rich paste that heavily coats the inside of your mouth. It brings out these complex, slightly wild, grassy flavor notes. Because of this, true buffalo mozzarella is actually too delicate, way too wet, and far too complex to just throw into a scorching hot pizza oven. It absolutely demands to be eaten fresh.
Which brings us to a fascinating, almost confusing paradox, the third category, industrial low-moisture mozzarella. This is that dehydrated block of cheese you find shrink-wrapped in plastic in the supermarket aisles. They've completely dried it out to around 45 to 52% moisture so it can last for weeks. And ironically, even though it is the furthest possible thing from the monk's original 12th century creation, food scientists have proven that it is the absolute best performing cheese for baking a pizza.
Picture the physics of a perfect 450-degree wood-fired melt. It's absolutely amazing. In the first 30 seconds, the surface moisture evaporates.
By 60 seconds, the fat begins to flow and gently lubricate the cheese. Then, between 60 and 90 seconds, those beautifully combed parallel protein threads we talked about earlier begin to soften and they seamlessly slide right past one another. Finally, just before the 150-second mark, we hit the Maillard reaction. That's when you get those gorgeous, bubbling, golden brown spots. But if you leave it in even 30 seconds longer, the fat entirely separates from the protein and you're left with an oily puddle. It really is a high-speed, high-stakes chemical ballet.
But listen, if you ever do get your hands on true artisan buffalo mozzarella, there are sacred, unbreakable rules you must follow to respect the monk's legacy. First, never, ever eat it cold. Seriously, eating it straight from the fridge suppresses all its volatile aromatics. It completely robs you of those delicate, grassy flavors hidden inside. It basically suppresses its very soul. Second, if you absolutely must put it on a pizza, add it only after the pizza comes out of the oven, allowing the residual heat to just gently warm it. And third, always store it floating in its protective liquid right up until the exact moment it touches your lips.
But my friend, there is one final, somewhat melancholic truth about the monk's original creation, and it revolves around this simple number, 4. You see, peak freshness for authentic buffalo mozzarella exists only within the first 4 hours of its production.
The fleeting soul of mozzarella. After just a few hours, that perfect, delicate texture begins to degrade. By the very next day, it has changed entirely. Within 3 days, it is a completely different cheese. True, authentic mozzarella loses its soul so incredibly quickly, leaving most of us around the world wondering, have we ever truly tasted the magic? Have we ever really tasted the secret born in the damp mists of Campania? Next time you grab a slice of pizza, think of the journey, the science, and the imagination behind that famous stretch. Thank you for joining me on this explainer tonight. Keep wondering, and I'll see you next time.